This is Justin AMZN on Wednesday, March 20th, 2019. Pre-market, we've got another gap up. Now it's inside the day from where we were at yesterday, and it looks like it's a little bit below, well, actually really right at some of the lows in here, as if this were a double top, and not just this retesting, but this kind of retesting back up to a neckline. I'd still call it a double top, even though it kind of bounced and then rolled here. But we'll see if this can hold as any sort of resistance and we push back lower a little bit. So, oh, and we also have a squeeze that's forming here. So moving to the day, and we move right back up to this, pretty much right up into this neckline. A little bit higher where some of these, like this big candle came down to, kind of like the retest of this location, but this is not looking bearish. Obviously, it's moving up. That looks a little more bearish. It's an inside candle. You could totally bracket this with a trade lower, triggering in a stop up here, and vice versa with a trigger up above here, a stop down here. Or, just like we've had a lot of buying off of any of these pullback candles, even through here, you could just buy this pullback as if it were a dip. It did actually hold the low here. We're really looking at this low, but that was pretty much the same area as this bounce yesterday. So pullback here could be viable too. Next candle moves up and takes out the high. If you had waited, you could be triggered in here. And a clear target would be yesterday's highs, which is not far from here. So it'd probably be only like a 1-to-1 to have that kind of set up. Moving up pretty quickly, another pullback. This pulled back into the 5. You got a nice hammer into the 21 here. And then that actually takes out below. So some people were definitely buying. The lower wick here shows a lot of buying pressure. And some folks were probably stopped out here if they had a really tight stop looking for this to just continue up. But with a pullback here and then a pullback here, both of them into the 21, again, still buyable. That's what we were doing yesterday. It's what we were doing the day before, buying off the 21, in the morning, even like right here, that happened too. So as long as your stop was a little more conservative, it worked. If you were trying to trade this aggressively, probably got stopped out, So here we go with Morningstar reversal, bouncing off this hammer, not this one, right back up into this level. And you're moving up. We have a nice consolidation here on the 5, right into the 1780 price, which we paused at yesterday. And then we continue up, and I think this candle makes a new high. Yeah, this candle makes a new high from compared to yesterday. And so obviously there's going to be some profit taking up here. Move sideways a little bit. This is just some consolidation right here at the new high. And in this case, it looks like it's going to pull back a little bit. It looks like it's going to bounce right here with a hammer. But just like it sort of bounced and grinded higher. We actually didn't really flatten out with the 5 exponential. We've sort of flattened out right here. I mean, it's only looking at 5 candles, but we do start to roll over, come right into the 21, and then we actually break down and go a little lower. So this, it's not as quick as yesterday, but it looks very similar to this. Looks a little bit like this breakdown and then starting to retest here. So we're retesting the 21, just like this retest in the 21. But here we are going sideways now. The exponential is going sideways, and we actually break down again. So this portion looks very similar to this and pretty much the same price range here too. So again, people who were selling way up here are selling here, are selling there again. And right now it's so far it's just a retest. It's a repeat of yesterday. And right now we're right back into this neckline area with these wicks. So it's not necessarily the place to be going bearish. The place to be going bearish was actually up here as it started to show a couple signs of, a consolidation, breakout that failed, inverted hammer, retest back up into that candle, and the continuation lower. So a lot of candles just looking at each individual one here in the 5 minute, and here we are, pull back a little bit more, make a new lower wick. This actually gives us the retest that I was looking for yesterday into these highs. I thought we'd get that here or here, and it didn't. It just continued on lower. But we do actually get it today. Not to say that this is still the retest of that, but there's a very clear resistance here that I didn't really see us coming back and holding. And it looks like that's what's happening here today. We're definitely not getting the big sell-off just like we got yesterday here, because we're already starting to bounce a little bit. So it's possible we could just continue on up here. But it actually goes up, goes sideways. We've seen this a couple days ago. Oh, it cleared off. Okay, we'll go back. Right here, it's going sideways with all these really small candles. We're getting that right here. And same thing, this was running into resistance here and rolls back down. So this could be yet another bounce off this level, 1770 area. And looks, I didn't mean to go that far. Okay, right here, it's looking like it's going to hold this level. You've got some higher lows, some lower highs. The only issue is it's a Wednesday, and there's some Wednesdays that the FOMC is doing something or saying something, and all of a sudden that's what happened. There's a lot of consolidation, and whatever was announced today, it really just unleashed the bulls, and you get this candle. So just like we had something happen with some news, we had some more news things happen today. It's just interesting. We broke down to this level yesterday because of news, and then we're actually being bought from this level today because of news or non-news events. So anyway, in 5 minutes, we've totally broken out. We've made actually a new high on the day. This high was 1785.34. This one was 1785.82. 82. So only a little bit higher. No, a dollar. Oh wait, did I say 85, 34, and 85, 85, 82. Okay. What's that? 48 cents higher. So then we just continue up. Continue up nicely, get almost up here to 1800. Where's our next line? I don't remember where our next line is. I'll have to figure out where that is after we finish this up. So we get way up here. We haven't touched the 5 in a few 5 minute candles. Get this really small high wave candle. I mean, a small indecision candle, not really high wave candle. And we actually start to pull back from here. Looks like we're getting a hammer similar to something like this. Sorry, that one's more of a hammer than this one. But similar to this, we have this candle with an upper wick breaking out. We have a little bit of bearishness, and we throw this candle in right on the 5, and it looks like we're repeating that. And if we repeat again, we should pull back some more. So what happens next? We pull back a little bit, but then we actually, we move up a little bit more than what happened here, and then we roll back down. Still a little ways left in the day, and we actually rally into the close right back up to this level, and then after our stay, we actually hit 1800, which is where we were running up into here. So the next line I've got is at 1815, and I'm going to go ahead and say, because we hit 1800, that, when did I say something about getting back up to 1800? Was it somewhere in here? I'd have to go back and look at the, I think it was maybe here to get up to 1800. Well, we did it. We're at 1800. Not during the day, not during normal business hours, normal trading hours. It's after hours. So really, to make it legitimate, we'll see if we get there tomorrow. See if we can get up to this line. But we're clearly, everything's confirmed bullish that we've broken out above these highs. Really, it's a matter of when could we pull back, because this is the bullishness that, I mean, this just stays, what was the word? The resolve of the bulls here has just continued to move this higher. And, you know, anybody trying to call the top, like a candle like this with the upper wick, people were shorting that, and someone got trapped today. You know, the bears up here were doing it again here, and then, I mean, they got taken out, and then we retested with this low, but we didn't even get back down to this point. I mean, really, really close. We're basically retesting, you know, all of this, really 1785 area with this candle. And so we'll see, are we going to continue higher, another bullish retest? Tomorrow we're going to have, you know, something that's going to look like this. If we zoom back out, you know, I keep coming back to this sort of double top look. We had that going today, a double top look. Oops, sorry. We had a double top look here across 2 days, and we were somewhat repeating here to half of today until we actually held this low and broke out. So the question is, as this one broke out the next day, then retested, and then, you know, really had a nice bounce, are we going to see something like that coming off of, you know, a double top setup? We've already got the gap up. Are we going to have some more of a pullback? Could we pull back to 1785? Could we pull a little bit deeper than where those highs are? You know, could we pull back 1770, you know, back down here? Could we pull back 1780, you know, and then still bounce just like we did back here? So, you know, pointing at some things. Let me see if I can sketch what I'm seeing. It always helps, right? So I'm seeing this double top, and then you have this gap up, a retest, and then it's just been up since then. So I think, can I move this? Can I grab all this? So let me grab all that. Okay. So double top. Double top. And we'll see what we can do with this. See if I can stretch this to make it fit what I'm seeing, what I'm thinking. All right. I guess there's double top. Now I'm just going to redraw this. Switch back. There we go. Okay. So that idea, can we take it here? And we've got a double top here. This one doesn't come back down this far like it did. You know, it really kept this level as a neckline. This today is not. We didn't come back down this far. And then after hours, or pre-market, we had gapped up and pulled back. You know, now today we've got this massive move that's been so quick right here. It's almost like the market closed and opened again. You know, similar range on that. And then we started to have a pullback. This one we pulled back for a while and then rallied. Could we have some more of a pullback, you know, tomorrow? And then could we just rally like this has rallied? So that's what I'm wondering, if it's going to continue to go up like that, which it very well could. So here on the daily, we're way off the 5. There was opportunities to buy excuse me, some of these candles down here, the lows down here. If we're looking at this is 1800 calls, the low here, I'm sorry, the second 5-minute candle took out the low of the first 5-minute candle, had a nice buy at 5, and then the pullback that it had with the hammer off the 21 here actually came down below 6. So it's possible you could have gotten a setup 6 by 5 holding this candle, and then that would have started to work again here, 6 by 5, and then just went sideways. And then we actually came back down into the $5 range. I'm sorry, the low 5, just like this candle did. And you could have done 5 by 4 later in the day if you wanted to get into something before the FOMC announcement or FOMC minutes. And I don't like doing that because I've been on the wrong side of those. But if you had waited and tried to do like 6 by 5 on a breakout or 6 by 4 or something a little bit wider, I don't know if you would have been filled on this. And then we didn't really pull back too much. We still held above 7. We held above the level that we came into here and then rolled back down. So this was a really nice retest, seeing it pull back to the $7 range. But it did it so quickly, I don't know if, somebody would have been filled trying to trade it that way. The next candle, you could have done 8 by 7. Next candle could have, or these candles could have done 9 by 8. So they kind of stepped up $100 at a time, which actually did give some opportunities to get in on its way up, and then ultimately got up here on 14 before rolling down again. But there were some opportunities to be buying and to get to our, with a move into a known high, something like that. On the put side, this is the 1750 put. We started to have that rollover. Again, the $5 price, $6 price. There were some opportunities here, but we only made it up to about 8, which was the pullback we had here on the daily. I'm sorry, on the 5-minute for Amazon stock. So we could have had a target up here around 8 or a little bit under 8. Didn't quite get back up to these levels, and then after the FOMC minutes, nothing happened. We just lost this. A little bit of a movement here as this was starting to roll back down, but after such a massive move, a lot of the pricing already had a lot of premium taken out for a bearish move, and so that's why you only got a little bit of a gain here. It moved up from this low to near the high. It moved up about $1, but so much premium had already been sucked out because of this, the massive bullish move, and taking the premium out of it through this. That's the kind of thing that market makers are going to try and get whatever premium they can loaded into these prior to FOMC, prior to some event. It doesn't have to just be FOMC, but anyway, seeing something move so rapidly and to hold these key levels, to run right into resistance and then hold it. Even just trading this candle, it broke out, it pulled right back into the middle. Great opportunity to buy on a pullback in here, because this is literally a retest of these candles, and this was the secondary retest of that. But getting in on a retest anywhere into some of these lows here or into this body here, that worked. And as this thing is just moving on up, that gives you an opportunity to get in on a pullback, which is what we want to do. We don't want to take these breakouts, even though it broke out and then held like the same value. So anyway, opportunities to buy calls, opportunities to buy puts, just framing up the trade, getting into options that, aren't as spready. Trading with $100 R is always a challenge, but there's some opportunities to do that when we're, 1,800 calls were about 20 something out of the money, 30 something out of the money here. And then the 1750 puts, again, up here, they were around $30 out of the money. So there's opportunities to play this both directions. But still the edge is bullish. We were making these higher. So the other thing I saw today, we're making some higher lows. Oops. Come on, trying to draw. There you go. Making some higher lows like this, and then it got a little shallower. We still made higher lows here, and then we had broken out, but after that, we were pretty consistently making some lower highs. And so, not to say, this isn't connecting everything as cleanly as I like to do. So I'd probably pull this down a little bit. You're into these highs all through this. And here we didn't quite get back up there. You can see the consolidation. It's like, okay, timing is perfect. It's got to do something at 1 o'clock. And it did. It gapped up and just ran. So with the angle of these showing a little more strength with the pullbacks, or at least less of a rally. And then the lows, I mean, this is almost the point that you've got some relative lows in here like this. It's almost flat on the bottom. So it's very clearly a triangle forming. And if you draw this angle at the right place, at the wrong place, if you drew it up this steep of an angle here, you might think, oh, we're breaking down. We're going to go lower here based on this, which is a little more symmetric. But then if you start taking this into account, it's like, well, it didn't touch here. So maybe I play with this end. Okay, now we're really close. Okay, I'm breaking down. Here's my retest. I'm going to get in bearish right here. It's going to roll lower. It's totally breaking down. I mean, it sets you up for the wrong trade. So a lot of this can be avoided just by being extremely patient for these smaller candles to come in at key levels. Here's a bunch of small candles at a key place that we bounced around 1770. And not only does it break out here, or I'm sorry, it breaks out of these three candles. We get out above it, and then we pull back right back into it, hold that low, and if it was a normal day, this would be a great opportunity to get in with news things pending at 1 o'clock. It's a little bit, all right, a lot more higher risk to get into something directional right here. And I told myself, okay, I'm going to wait. I'm going to wait like 5 minutes and see what this does. And within like a couple, 1-2 minutes, we're way up here. It's like, I don't know if we're going to pull back that far. I think I may have missed this. I was looking, okay, what can I do? What can I do? And I was missing the rally here. And there were definite opportunities down here, but just challenging for the $100 risk. So anyway, on to tomorrow. We'll see what happens next. I would like to see some more of a pullback, a little more bearishness inside, stay in this range. But it doesn't have to do that tomorrow. If we can get up to 1815 tomorrow, that'd be a great target. And there'll still be opportunities for bears driving things. Just be really patient. But I mean, it's been working to get in right out the gate, or within, a bearish candle that's pulled back as we've opened up. Bearish candle here, bearish candle here, bearish candle here. There's been opportunities on those bearish candles in this bullish trend, to really give yourself a better entry. So hope that makes sense. Hope you enjoy this video, and I'll be back tomorrow with another one. Thanks. This is just AMZN.